Welcome back to MSI 2018, and it's Team Liquid taking on EVOS Esports. This is going to be a very fun one. Both these teams did lose their first game 0-1, but keep in mind the losses were to an undefeated Flash Wolves and the tournament favorites in Kingzone Dragon Next. So even though one of these teams will be 0-2, I think it's still much more to play.
Definitely true. We have a long ways to go for this tournament. And if we start off with EVOS, their opening game, they didn't get much game time actually because it was over so quickly. They also didn't really get to play the game that they wanted. The early game went so poorly that they never got to come out of the gates. They never got to get their jungler going or really see much of anything. So round number 2 here, they're going to have a different story.
It just really feels like neither EVOS nor Team Liquid got to play a lot of League of Legends because they were so dictated to in the early games. Team Liquid were dealing with what we kind of saw as the meta coming in, a lot of supports, an empowered AD carry. He really dictated the tone of the game. So that both these teams' a proactive draft would really be the first step towards getting something out of this day's play.
Yeah, Team Liquid were playing catch-up pretty much the whole game versus Kingzone Dragon X. Now they've had a little bit of time, and we'll see as we get on to the ban phase here. Not too much out of the ordinary, but the Camille banned away, EVOS, we've talked about their top lane focus, and they have had a lot of Yijin playing with Stark, playing around Stark, also splitting the map quite a lot and having Stark going for split pushing strategies and skirmish strategies.
And I know that when I was preparing for this game, my eyes naturally levitated towards the jungle matchup because I love watching a really intelligent pathing jungler like Xmithie against an aggressive jungler like Yijin, because Xmithie has played both sides of the coin. He's very good at nullifying aggressive plays. I think back to his Ezreal jungle games for Immortals last year. He can do a lot of things. He's very careful. He really cultivates smart strategies to counter people, and I like to see what he makes of Yijin.
One of the biggest things for me with Xmithie is how adaptable he is depending on the jungler that he's playing.
Exactly.
If Yijin is focusing on counter jungling and taking away camps and getting these big farm advantages, will Xmithie play a similar style like we've seen before, where he's willing to sacrifice and go down bottom and get their bottom lane ahead? Or will he actually mount a counterattack and try and close the trap on him? So we'll see how adaptable they remain. Trundle, again, as we said last game, first pick, nothing out of the ordinary.
All right, Ornn taken away right off the bat here. Both these teams played Ornn in their first game of the tournament, at least the group stage itself here. And it means that Impact will have to play a new champion here onto this one, and they need one more champion here. EVOS, they're going to take a blind Cassiopeia pretty early on in the order here. I think a very strong champion on this patch.
Still feels like we're a long way away from understanding the tournament meta, because the ordinary, the extraordinary, it feels like the line is kind of pretty dotted at this point. We're still learning where priorities are. The Ornn priority, I think a lot of us have prophesized will jump up. We see it early here, but the Gangplank available makes a very comfortable lane for the side of TL.
And there you go.
Yeah.
The first thing on people's minds when, oh no, MSI is coming, Conqueror is going to be there, their top lane tanks are going to be out of the meta or whatever, and Impact only plays tanks. Well,
and Gangplank.
That's not the case, exactly. Plays a mean Gangplank, also has received carry top lane bans. But anyways, this time around, we are going to be seeing Impact on the Gangplank. One of the biggest things as well for them this split has been how well Impact has been able to absorb pressure. And we'll see if he can actually do it on this champion, because that is where it is of the utmost importance. Plus, Gangplank with the added bonus, of course, with the ultimate can affect the bottom lane and fuel the bottom side of the map for Team Liquid.
And you're already seeing, though, a little bit of a split priority in what's being grabbed here. An unanswered jungler for the NALCS and Team Liquid. Unanswered support for EVOS Esports representing Vietnam. And you can see they're already putting in a couple of support bans to try to open up that advantage. And you look at the champs picked up already, though. Screams teamfight on the EVO side. Cassiopeia, a huge backline mage. The Alistar Ornn is insane, not only frontline, but initiation to start those 5-on-5s.
Yeah, the hard engage is definitely there for them. And we just saw, the long-range initiation of Ornn demonstrated in the last game. He can set it up, Alistar can follow up, and be that extremely tanky frontline. So we'll see if EVOS can have a better start to the game. They'll have the initiation tools to force the fights that they want.
And you look at TL's side, they haven't really gone either way when it comes to what their comp will be about, but they are able to show up with the Gangplank ult, with the Ryze ult, and actually impact areas. So they play the map well with their first 3 pick. It hasn't pigeonholed themselves into anything. Looking for both AD carry and jungler. And whenever I see an aggressive jungler hold the jungle pick to last, you do start to wonder.
definitely do. Graves is on the board. Kha'Zix and Kindred were
Nocturne.
added in the second round.
Yep.
So there's definitely Skarner also is banned. So they're definitely checking a lot of the boxes here, but it doesn't feel like EVOS are worried at all.
The only like super good early game junglers left are Olaf, which is already generally considered countered by Trundle, and a Nidalee, if you really want to go for that one, there is an early game jungler, which maybe some people think is around or not. Ezreal, of course, you saw grabbed up. Want to make sure Doublelift couldn't get that. He's going to make his second game in a row on Jhin here, as Tahm Kench might round out the lineup, which I do like, by the way. With you, when you have a bunch of hard engage, you can pull one of those targets back out with Tahm Kench, reposition, and then fight.
Nocturne would be massive in this particular game. Very strong against Jhin. They have Ezreal who can self-peel. Everyone else wants to dive in. Very interesting to see because Nidalee, Nocturne does feel like it would be a risky jungle pick. The Nocturne's being hovered.
Ooh, will it be lights out for Team Liquid? EVOS Esports wanted to match that Lost Column with a win here in their final
Just
game
do
of the
it.
day. And it's going to time out and go to Zach. So instead, another long-range, hard-engage tank to set up for Slay and Warzone to make the game just that.
Yeah, Nocturne, there's so many things you have to take into account with Nocturne too. Especially with Tahm Kench kind of being the last pick there for Team Liquid, can be a huge denial option. Meanwhile, though, the Zac also has some things to worry about with the Trundle long-range pillar being a very problematic for him if they don't control vision extremely well. So they are going to have to do some work ahead of time, but they have a lot of options. Like that long-range hard engage is just there in spades for EVOS.
I think they got a bit of cold feet, though. You know, I saw the Nocturne coming. I thought it would really fit. Now you go for Zac, who's a bit of a self-counter pick into the Trundle. Also, if he jumps in, doesn't have his ult up or his flash down, just gets Trundle ulted and can be focused down. So they definitely have lowered the damage. And also, speaking of damage, the turret dive on the Gangplank with 2 true tanks, it's much harder to actually punish a squishy scaling laner in GP.
All right, well, lineups are already on your screen. The coaches shake hands, and we'll see which of these teams ends up sitting at the bottom of the table at the end of the first day. Only 4 of the 6 teams here are going to make it into those semifinals over in Paris next week. And these teams are on the chopping block, of course, right now. The question is, you know, who else can maybe join Korea and China and Flash Wolves as the so far undefeated teams in this one? If those teams keep doing well, there's only 1 spot left across Fnatic and EVOS and Team Liquid here. So see if those upsets can happen or if they can start shaping up well here. Players on your screen, game loading up, and we'll be ready to go into second.
Both these teams felt creeping dread very early in their first games of the day. So I think the early game here really is the acid test for both Team Liquid and EVOS.
And it's interesting because we're focusing so much on the junglers in this one because that is going to be a lot of the early game. And with the last pick, switching over to Zac there at the last moment, Zac does not have a lot of agency early on. Going to be farming a lot more. Counter jungling, definitely not going to be on the table for him. And Smithy, it feels like, has more options at the moment.
Right now,
Zac was
it's trading
dancing, I
blows.
believe. He was having a little fun, but Impact is all business.
Yeah, no, he's going for some fights right here. I generally, by the way, would take 2 grass procs over 2 or 3 klepto procs. Okay, he got a bag of gold, so never mind. Now Gangplank's winning, but that was being a bit lucky. But still getting, 10 or so extra max health. Pretty nice for a start.
We do mention that he has gone for the Klepto. A lot of people.
He got 100 out of it.
That's a nice time.
That's straight up great RNG.
But the
Better RNG than the LPL.
The GP moving away from Resolve, we already mentioned. Ornn plus Zac, not the best turret diving, much less likely to be heavily punished. Why not go for gold generation? Try to get those items earlier. So I like the choice there from Impact when Resolve and also going into the Klepto is up in the air for most top lanes.
Meanwhile, Zac doing the Wolf start. Over here we have Smithy with a very quick start on his Gromp Blue as well. So he's going to be able to have options here. It looks like he could as well go for invades. You see the deep ward onto the Raptors. If Yijin goes here, then obviously they'll be able to see him, but just them having that ward and knowing that he's over on this blue side of the map, you can easily just guess where he is at the moment.
And they have the control ward down from all the gold generated at level 1, which allows for a nice wraparound gank or potentially an invade for the Trundle. That was nicely picked up there. The profit from getting that extended Klepto trade with the Ornn.
Some nice stuff right there. So as they keep trading blows back and forth, and Impact keeps trying to scale, and he's even got an extra ward to make sure he's safe. It's the green ones in the inventory. This will be the push advantage this time around for the Liquid side. So having to not against a ranged champion, Jin now has the ability to push. Try to make sure those guys have to sit in the back, but a nice little bit of knock up there could mean some trade of blows. Courtesy of those caster minions, the Mystic shots could not come through on a good target, and Doublelift walks away pretty cleanly.
Meanwhile, the junglers there, Yijin goes for a very safe early clear, just the blue quadrant, doesn't want to give away anything else, goes for the recall, doesn't want to get low because he knows that the option there for Xmithie on the Trundle could get very aggressive. Xmithie does not, however, and he's going hard clearing at the moment, gets the scuttle, he's clearing red side now, so Xmithie actually going to have quite a few CS, whereas Yijin did get the first back and going to have a lot more sustainability in the jungle.
And it's a treat to see Yijin with the shoe on the other foot. He's not on the Graves. He's not on the champion, expected to dictate the matchup. Like we mentioned, in some ways self-counterpicking himself with the Zac to try to really load on team fight damage. Pobelter not quite able to stop the recall. So now we're seeing someone off their natural style. You remember Peanut when he was first playing Cinderhawk junglers after being that big Warrior Lee Sin and carry Nidalee player, struggled to adapt. Yijin has kind of played all the sides. When it comes to the international stage, he's really had a very aggressive advantage. I mean, they first picked Kha'Zix to give him that the first time today.
And on top of that, not only is Yijin playing a little bit, out of the norm that we've seen from them, but Stark as well. Stark for this team has been so much about aggressive trades in the top side, and then playing a lot around him. But he's on the Ornn into GP at the moment right now, and he's still, going for the trades and trying to push Impact in. But there are a lot less options, as you said, for really trying to get those early kills up there. At the moment, though, Impact getting kind of low.
Yeah,
Yijin is on this side of the map.
Right, at this point, if Frontal's not around, he's low enough to die to a turret dive or have to flash away from some of it. We'll see how EVOS plays around this right here, because Impact's now used his last Corrupting Potion stack. He's barely got mana to eat some oranges, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, but as soon as you see the Scryer's Bloom popped, you know that they don't even have that on their radar as going for a dive, because you're giving away your position in order, to pop that Bloom and get the extra vision. He's just going to go for the steal on the prompt there before pulling out afterwards. That is going to prompt Impact to go for his recall, though. Yep. Heal back up and get the first purchase of his Sheen down. Quite nice timing.
There we go, teleport down. Of course, in a minute, and maybe 15 seconds, we'll have Cannon Barrage to be able to put some pressure on that bottom lane, but Impact can't join it physically himself. Stark, of course, might have that option. Looking now at the mid lane, maybe. Only level 4, though, on this Zac. Not much of a diver just yet. Not going to find it. Warzone just going to be able to go walk back in the lane, keep getting the farm. This mid lane matchup, though, is +5 to Pobelter. And now here comes that attempted play. Grounds him in, looks for the Q, going to pull him back in the flash, and Pobelter's going to get away for that one. Still has his own teleport to get back to lane.
I mean, the lane presence from Pobelter will go down. Here's RonoP going for a bit of a roam.
Ooh, this could be the big play. Xmithie, they're right around the corner and in Fog of War. Either way, they're not going to go for that dive as the minions go down. Now, they see each other, so they know that this Alistar's right in front of that jungle. And now Ole looks for the flank. This is going to be a 2-on-2 as junglers and supports. There's the pillar up there. Headbutt to buy some space, and then the pulverize to make sure he doesn't get chomped up afterwards. Ole not going to get much more CC out of this one.
Pretty clean to hold both your summoners there if you're RonoP. So.
Yeah, I was thinking that Ole was going to hug the inside of the river wall there a little bit more, so that you're expecting the headbutt coming out, and if he's more to the bottom, then you don't gain as much distance.
Right, yeah.
But in the end, there is an Ignite used by Ole, so in fact, Summoner Spell advantage for EVS. They're getting out of the invade.
And Simi Increasing Light will have a game of time. We talked a lot in the previous cast about the Vladimir being able to overtake the game. You look in this game, normally timings are involved. When we discussed Ezreal, we just saw Prey. Absolutely monster with Trinity Force and Muramana before 20 minutes into the game. Now you kind of have this weird duality where Ezreal, but also Jhin against 3 tanks traditionally does fall off. Huge front line for the Jhin to try to puncture through. So very interesting to see where the timings go. To me, Impact is really the late game insurance for the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah, Team Liquid, they definitely are the ones more geared toward countering moves made by EVOS. It's such a different story, though, because of the supports in this game. While, it is the same bottom lane there for Team Liquid, because RonoP is on that melee champion, it's been Doublelift and Ole shoving in, and them with the ones for the early move, them with the presence here, and they're allowing Xmithie to take up an early Ocean Drake. That is so good for a team that's looking for more counterplay. So good for Gangplank spamming out. You can just get out of combat with champions, get a little bit of regen up, and then return to farming up all the extra gold.
Nice by Stark. Out times Impact there on that one. Lands the auto attack well enough here. Right now, a 300 gold lead for Team Liquid. Some of that being that Gangplank exists, but still a very close early game here. I do like, by the way, as we saw with the vision toggle, shout out Observers. The Drake was not physically seen as Toronto started it, and a good pickup there.
Gotta always watch now the mid lane minion wave positioning, because there are no summoners on Pobelter. And even though Evos didn't get a kill on him, that changes the way that you can play a lane against the Zac jungle. Zac now with multiple levels into the Elastic Slingshot can come from a lot of different angles towards mid lane, and that's why Pobelter, wants to either quickly shove the wave all the way to turret and then get completely out of mid lane, or be very careful about controlling some sort of vision around there, because it's so hard to get away. When Cassiopeia can lay down Miasma, they've got flash advantages, and Zac, even if you miss the Elastic Slingshot, Q is there to solve all your problems. As long as there's a minion around, you can use that for your crowd control.
Speaking of Zac and crowd control, he actually took the blue buff here, the second one on the map, and that seems a little strange. Now, Smithy sees him and goes, I'm not going to fight you just right now. Both level 6, though. I feel like Smithy wins the one-on-one. Depends on how the mid lane push is going, but Pobelter has access to more mana, courtesy of the fact that the blue is on Zac.
Definitely a bit of a peculiar choice. We didn't really see the setup, see how intentional it was, but Cassiopeia getting extended laning phase here. She could really decide this game. To me, Cassiopeia is super swingy as a champion. If she falls behind, she can really just be CC to death. Speaking of CC,
Pobelter does not have flash. Let's bounce, but Grounded gets rid of the ulti, so there's no way out for Pobelter, but Cannon Barrage buys some space, as well as the Rune Prison, and Pobe able to walk away. Does lose the ulti cooldown, but not too bad.
Yeah, they were definitely looking for that play, and they got some damage on a Cassiopeia, but you can see 2 ultimates used, as you said, and the Gangplank ultimate now not going to be available for bottom lane if anything does break out there.
I thought the execution wasn't fantastic from Yijin, going for the very optimistic use of the Let's Bounce. But speaking back to Cassiopeia, flash in, go aggressive as the Cassio in team fights. The Grounded sets up so much Wombo CC that if she hits all of her item timings, could be the sort of game where Cassio really profits.
He's taking some damage here.
And he's trying to play around Petrifying Gaze, does turn it away. Warzone is able to walk without a flash. Pope can't even chase him for anything there, but managing to force an ultimate out is a nice little bit of a trade.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid, both Pobelter and Smithy, playing very well around the summoner disadvantage of mid lane and not allowing Evos to get anything out of that kind of timing window that they had. Not to mention Smithy now moving in for a Raptor Steal here.
Yeah, rolls will go to him, even though it's Yijin who's gotten... it's fine, it's okay. Now with the dive at the top side, look at the damage output! Solo kill, first Bloodhouse Stark!
Usually, shoes on the other foot for impact, but we saw him on Blinking Health a couple of times. You can do this as the Ornn walks up, enough damage taken down, and that'll slow down the march of the Pirate.
A little greedy there from Impact. He ends up going down in a solo kill, and we'll see if Evos actually do play a little bit around Ornn.
Well, he's done really well for himself, and this is now the gold lead for Evos. First time really in the game here, but top lane lead, the tank could do a lot in team fights.
And let's talk about his build. He's actually building the Sheen towards Iceborne Gauntlet. A lot of people go towards Frozen Heart, full tank. But this will allow him to push in, impact other lanes in his own lane, usually. And the Gangplank can eat the oranges and be okay, but he just plays with fire for too long, and Stark sees the invitation, pops the horn, and it was too easy.
Yeah, I really like how he played that as well. The auto with the grasp attack, back swap out, and is able to land both swings.
And again, I look at the Ornn and I say, okay, he's pushing in the lane. He's going to have the Gauntlet for extra lane control. If he gets out of lane first, they already have huge engage. So it's going to be about the first TP we see into a team fight where Stark can actually grow that solo lead to really amp up the game for the side of Evos.
Still eyes on mid lane for Yijin and Warzone. But Pobelter still playing very hesitantly. He's hovering to the top side. That's where they have the control ward. And his flash is now back and available. He's got more escape routes that he can take.
You see Pobelter playing smartly to the left-hand side. This time, though, knocked up. Going to get pulled back into a mini. Grounded as well. Cannot flash away. Let's Bounce brings him back into the lane. Now he's trying to get the roam warp out of this one. Is going to survive.
Whoa.
And actually, again, only burn the ultimate. The flash stays up. That's a pretty good escape.
Yeah, if he was going to burn the flash, he would have flashed the Elastic Slingshot, and they instead, again, decided to use both ultimates to get him out and save the summoner spell. for a more dire situation. He felt like as soon as he saw the shadow there with the Zac Elastic Slingshot, they decided to go for the outplay and spend some health instead.
And that's the payment you get for going for a very defensive build. Early Merc Treads plus a No Magic Mantle. Round 2 comes in, going to find the slow. Into the knockback as well. Grounded yet again. There's not a way out for Pobelter. Flashing, but here comes the chase, and Warzone just knocks out his teeth.
The second time around, you do flash the Elastic Slingshot.
Yep. Yeah.
He got super greedy this time around. Not flashing it this time around, being that low health and not having those ultimates means that Pobelter with the late flash afterwards, still already dead.
I knew he didn't have his jungler coming because he'd already started the Rift Herald through all of that play.
Yeah.
He must control the bot side. Here they come.
The flash forward, gonna find a little bit of something. The auto attack to find a stun as well. And Ole, here comes the dive. The knockup is in. Ronald P takes it. Ignite is on. They're gonna get low on health. Just barely survives the encounter as they get Ole to drop down. But this is an easy one. Pope could auto attack for this. And now,
Will he die
how
for
does
it?
he feel about the 1v3? Gets a root, walks away. Not gonna be knocked up just yet. Now here comes the chain CC, and Rise will fall. Another one comes in for Evos. Now double if knocked up. And for the next trick, he's gonna find a pillar in the face. Is Stark running out of health. Smithy pops the ulti. King's tribute. Thank you very much. A second kill now for Team Liquid. Looks like it will now be the disengage as they trade kills back and forth.
And with that teleport down to the bottom for Stark, that leaves Impact on Gangplank on top side, possibly to get first turret bonus gold. So even though those kills kind of go on an even wash, it is Team Liquid that will get a lot of the bonus gold from the objective.
Absolutely. Overall, you definitely value what Team Liquid picked up specifically onto Impact, who had to deal with being solo killed earlier in the laning phase. There is that solo gold onto GP. Trinity Force definitely on the next back.
Now there is an Infernal Drake up, and Team Liquid are making the first move for it, using the Blast Cone to jump over. I don't know if they'll be able to burn it down in time, though, because Ronald P scouts it out.
But Zac, Ezreal so far.
On one. 3
Pobelter-
versus 2. 3 versus 3, and here comes the dive on in. Ole's in the front lines, doesn't have an escape tool for this one. Smithy does use his flash to get out, but Ole is so low, pops the gray health shield. Warzone needs to land 2 more skill shots, gets the poison, gets the kill. Thanks for the leash. Dragon goes over to Evos Esports.
Eyes too big for the objective there without the personnel in place. Pobelter had no ultimate, no teleport, and he was walking from the fountain. They were trying to make a sneaky move here to steal the Infernal Drake away before Evos were able to reset, but they were caught red-handed. Now it's going to be the red buff that might be over.
Ooh, nice pickup though. Smithy managed to chomp and smite, and now Yijin might be in a bit of danger as the ulti comes across the slows for Impact. Ronald P has a stun, but there's no ultimate and no flash. Ooh, they do get the root, and this is going to be the kill coming through. They make sure Impact grabs it and walks away with a bit more gold. So Evos this time bites off more than they can chew.
Definitely a bit of a seesaw here, people. Just overstepping their bounds again and again. Just the tip of the Deadly Flourish. Enough to take down Ronald P. It's going to be early channel here of the Rift Tower, but they know Alistair can't be here. Ezreal popped over to get the Gromp. Let's see if there's going to be a second turret for TL.
Gonna keep up the extra pressure on bottom side with the Rift Herald. As you said, Charge will get off. And they're also rotating Impact back to top side so they don't lose top side turret health, and they push Stark off of that one. So Team Liquid will secure the 2 turret lead for themselves. And what you need to do with that is try and, again, get the vision down, because Evos have so much hard engage, as we went over in camp, so like so many options for forcing those fights. Team Liquid are going to need to have some extra vision to help them with seeing the Zac and seeing the movements from Evos coming.
Gonna watch the replay of this entire passage of play on the bot side. Deep teleport, we talked about the Ornn wanting to spread his lead after picking up the solo gold. They had to get very deep under the turret, and it was really honestly about who wasn't there, the GP, as we ended up noting.
And as you can see, if you're watching the minimap during the replay, Impact started recalling there, but he cancels it and then is able to push on the objective. And then Pobelter, as you saw, teleports in, gets the extra kill, but it also kind of baited them into staying longer, using flashes forward, and since Smithy was able to arrive and eventually answer the kills, that's where, you know, the extra time and everything went Team Liquid's favor. But again, they got really big eyes for this Infernal Drake, and even though they didn't have mid lane presence, Pobelter back in base with no way of getting there, they still tried to steal it away during a small window here, and they ended up paying for it.
We do see the fallibility of Jhin in our first cast now in this game, where he tries to walk up, he doesn't do damage to the Inferno, he's not able to actually open up. Jhin's contribution basically nil there, despite being the only AD carry within range of that Drake. again, but at the end of all of this, still very even game between TL and EVOS.
That Dragon play from Team Liquid was a bit reminiscent actually of their first game of the day, where they had a good play bottom and they had an advantage and they were choosing between a turret. Well, Ole actually now.
Flashless Tom Kench knocked in the air. Gray health pop does not matter. Stark grabs himself his third kill of the game. 3-1-1, best performer on the team.
You do end up getting a bit frustrated because TL, they don't have eyes on the Zac. They don't have deep vision. They need to know where all these threats are coming from. So you shouldn't be surprised, Ole, that you walk that far up and you die.
I actually knew Zac was on his Raptors. They just pushed him off. He was in range the whole time. And
there you go.
Yeah, really silly that Ole steps up by himself. This means a bit of time in the mid lane now. Cannon Barrage buys a bit of space, but they might look to really just push them off. And that turret's not yet going to fall. And now Impact, the one going against Ezreal. This could be very good for the Pirate. And looking to knock down a champion, but can't get the slow. And now, yeah, Slay pushing him out, kites away the skill shots that were important.
Meanwhile, though, Team Liquid are in a 1-3-1 setup. They have top lane pushing. Pobelter on the rise, pushed in topside, and now they're collapsing. The vision with the control wards and deep vision inside EVO's jungle is technically there. They're trying to now make this collapse work, but again, no Gangplank ultimate ready.
They can play 3 lanes really well, can Team Liquid, if that vision does stick. That's what they're trying to do with a 2-turret lead. Obviously going to be focused largely around this mid lane turret. Doublelift happy to be a lot safer, just pushing waves in mid lane.
Yeah, Team Liquid, they also tried to do this against Kingzone. Their problem against Kingzone was that Kingzone had so much more priority, plus the 3 stacked Cloud Drifts that allowed them to move very quickly and get those pickoffs. But that's what they have to watch out for, is side lanes getting caught red-handed, pushing up a little bit too far, and the initiation from EVOS.
What I'm looking for here from TL, the kind of missing part of their setups right now, because I'm not talking about the lane assignments, it's honestly Xmithie being able to force Yijin out of his jungle. If Yijin is using his Elastic Slingshot out because Trundle walks up and contests a camp, then there isn't the threat on the 1-3-1. Then you can actually push forward and make the plays. But because Trundle right now is killing Braum, there is really no threat onto mid lane, and so the farm just continues for EVOS.
I want to point out, unless I didn't hear you guys say it, and you already did, that there's an Eye of the Equinox on Yujin here, going for vision on this Zac last hitting cannons. He's at 152 of the 500 gold required to turn on that Eye and hit the actual wards.
Ended up becoming more common during the LCK promotion tournament, right? The end of the season, in the playoffs a little bit as well. Argument is that now it's actually pretty easy if you buy a pretty late Relic Shield to walk up and just auto-attack cannons with all the golds loaded onto them. A few mini waves come through, and then you have warding, and kind of tank junglers that lost their identity a bit because you couldn't go Tracker's Knife and Sweeper. Now you can just get a later Relic Shield around, say, 20 minutes. You get enough gold from the quest. Will hold the point.
That big knock-up there, Pillar in a good spot, and the Kidnap not going to pull in much of anything as the final shots come through for Jin, but still fighting for the front line. Xmithie pretty durable. Miasma comes across, big engage out of Ornn. Into the air he goes, the knock-ups chained together, and Impact going to fall. It's a 1-for-1 as the support drops. Both are flashing away from the wall as well. Yijin getting shot out by Double. Big crit comes through down to 500 HP. They're going to once again. Stark can't quite get the knock-up, but now he's alone. Yijin going to get split into blobs. Double flashes just for the passive, though. He's not going to get gold on that one. Not sure if it's worth the summoner spell just to trade the cooldowns there. An easy target next time around is Doublelift.
Yeah, and Ole was really deep up in the jungle there. I believe he killed off Ron OP in the support on support fight, but now he's trying to exit through the team.
Yep, and Warzone gets vengeance. So 2-for-1 advantage. EVOS, that team fight getting a little bit closer in this game. The difference still about 1,400.
Pretty messy stuff, and Ole, unfortunately, his positioning again has to be called into question, going for a bit of an adventure. If you watch the minimap for Ole's journey, we'll focus on the start of the fight. It all starts with the big wombo here. You're just waiting for the full commitment from EVOS to get the start.
Yeah, and you can see Impact immediately ran out of this fight, but there was a little bit of split call maybe from Team Liquid as they re-engaged, and both carries there, and Pobelter and Impact were caught in the jungle. But again, yeah, like I was talking about in the
Ole killed the Alistar and zoned away Slay, but that meant that TL either had to fully engage or Ole was going to be an inevitable casualty.
And he had an exit path there a little bit safer further down through the jungle. Doesn't take it, but now we are actually into a pause, so we'll take a quick break here as we try and figure out what went wrong.
The one typing / pause was Ron OP. We'll hear from production soon enough just what that issue was. Either way, we have crested into a pretty secure mid game here. 12 kills overall on the board, and again, the gold very close together in both these squads. Past 20 minutes, Baron is available. Each team's also taken one Drake so far. So yeah, very interesting game. Kind of curious to see how you guys feel about sizing this one up. It's 3 tanks versus 2, but both squads look pretty keen to team fight.
That's definitely the right word. Keen is definitely the right word. To me, the setups for both, what teams are looking to actually do, what actually separates the identities of the two, have been a bit sloppy. When it comes to these team fights, I was largely encouraged by TL walking up. They're not just focusing on Impact growing a CS lead in the top side. EVOS will take a team fight if you opt into it. It's exactly what they drafted for. But overall, doesn't really feel like either of them are sticking their neck out much far ahead at this point.
Yeah, and I would say that Team Liquid much more focused on before a team fight would break out, setting up in the split push, the 1-3-1 here. You know, they have the Gangplank and the Ryze with their teleports, trying to prep on the sides, trying to keep EVOS cornered a little bit in their own territory, and using the extra territory that they have to put down that vision so they could then counter an initiation, because they know an initiation is coming. As we said in Champs, like, this is a Zac Ornn combination with an Alistar. Like, EVOS have a lot of hard engage. They want to force something, and Team Liquid, their job is basically to find out ahead of time where that is going to be so they can play around it and punish elsewhere, or go for the collapse, go for the outplay, and get the counter.
Well, that is going to be the game plan then for Liquid on that side. Want to point out the pause looks like is over. Yijin had said there was a microphone issue. Looks like it's solved and the game is resuming. So we are back onto the Rift right now. Team Liquid on the back end of that team fight. Even though they did lose more people than their opponents, able to rush down this Cloud Drake and get some of that mobility to work around those side lanes.
Exactly. That's the advantage to playing the team composition and the strategy, where you're the one putting out the pressure first, and you're kind of forcing the other team into going for that hard engage. If they have control of the map, they have the extra vision, they have the pushing waves, then they can retreat back to objectives like that dragon and be able to pick that one up. Now, returning right back out to the field, Impact actually has plenty of vision supporting his split push on bottom side.
Seeing Cassiopeia, who went from base straight to top lane, has a lot of the gold loaded onto it. So early Rylai's and already the Seraph's complete. So not grouped, and that's why TL were happy to keep pushing through the mid lane. Completely agree with your point. Teamfight execution is really all EVOS can trade on. If anything doesn't go the way on the execution, TL win in multiple other ways with how well they've set up the map. See if they can actually find that. They just have so much engaged, just like in the last game. It feels like something will stick eventually. I have liked the setups, and GP, he's starting to pile on the items now, and he's 2 in.
All right, if you look at the items overall, you mentioned the 2 in the Sterix Gauge, the slightly tankier item there for Impact, common as it may be, but now it's 2 on the front side. Warzone versus Pobelter gets slowed down a little bit, but has turned away from the stun, and now a kidnap on the top side, double lift, got caught out, and Let's Bounce gets the kill. Now Pope still in a duel, look at it's gonna be close, but Smithy is there, and the Ornn call wasn't quite in range, so Pobelter just barely walks away. It's a 1-for-1.
And again, during this whole time, Team Liquid are split pushing. They fought that 4v5. Yes, there was a Gangplank ultimate, so maybe you get a half of counter there for Impact.
4.2 versus 5.
4.2 with 5, but he's still split pushing. They get the turret on the bottom side, and they have to have the Ornn recall. EVOS, though, because they had the extra priority in mid lane here afterwards, are still able to answer, and they get a turret for themselves as well. That is their first of the game.
Does represent a TP advantage as well, as Impact did not join the team. So overall, again, you can see what TL are trying to do. They will have the TP next time to perhaps look for a fallback around the Baron. Baron setups right now, and incomplete from both teams. Couple control wards on the side of EVOS, but allowed to blade the Ruined King, for now at least. With Cassiopeia going down, Cassiopeia lives. Actually, Cassiopeia Ezreal have a lot of Baron damage. Cassiopeia down, not as clean.
Yeah, let's take another look at this, because it's actually pretty well played as far as trying to move to 2 different skirmishes breaking out here. Yes, there's a great kidnap there on double lift, and the kill was taken over for EVOS. We didn't get to see the other half, but now they're right back at it and on the run.
Ron OP right behind them, goes in for the Pulverize on a 2, and he's in the front lines at a half HP. Of course, has the ulti available, pops it right now, canceled on the teleport, actually. He's not going to be in this fight too easily. The big knockouts come across. Huge plays there. Pope looking for the duel against the Cassiopeia. Double's already dead, and Slay comes in to grab it. 2 kills already. Make a turret fall and a third. A huge team fight out of EVOS Esports.
And from all directions they came. Slay was topside, but he's Ezreal. He can self-peel. Doesn't need to be fighting front to back. They turn on to Baron. Doesn't matter if the setup is there. For TL, this will be Baron EVOS.
Team Liquid exposed themselves, and EVOS are able to take advantage. Now they're going to be able to take down mid turret, but can they escape afterwards? Pillar looks like it will say yes for Impact and Smithy, but Impact's got a ways to go still.
Well, Slay could be in danger. Yeah, he doesn't go Blast Code into the Fog of War. He will. Brain would have been low enough to maybe die to the Impact Gangplank. Either way,
Our
he's
freak
still on
has
the way.
malfunctioned.
My brain is just jet lag. I got 4 hours sleep. My brain is not working very well. But Impact is running away. He's gonna stay alive. And at least Liquid get one turret on the back half of that fight.
I just couldn't wait for this replay because it was the craziest team fight you've ever seen. Consider what happens here. The Alistair getting to the back line, that part works, but Slay is alone on the top side. We know the engage there for Evos. Not many team fights are constructed like this, but again with this Jhin pick, no fun at all for Double Lift.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have many options in getting out. When Team Liquid move into the river without any deeper vision, that is spam pings from Evo. So like, let's get them, jump on them now, because Team Liquid, before doing that, they didn't do any of the prep that we talked about. The vision there to see the moves coming or the side wave pushing. This is right when they had gotten back out on the map. So dream scenario there for Evos. They absolutely punish them, collapse from all sides, get the kills, get the Barons, and now they're taking so many turrets. They had only one turret before this.
And this is going to be the attempt as bot lane 2-2 falls. The disengage, thanks to the pillar, stops Elastic's shot from doing much of anything. Even so, though, it's a 2,500 gold lead. Evo starting to take over more of the map, looking for the next major objective as Impact knocks down the cannon. Good poke out of Slay back and forth. Not doing the double tier build. He is on Blade of the Ruin King right away. A bit more tank busting in that one. And Legion in the front line going to keep last hitting these cannon minions, make sure he can open that eye of those 4 too long. Now looks like for the opening. The damage is going to be there. He's going to plop the Bloblets, and the teleport goes on to a ward. Re-engage at a Warzone at half HP though, and here comes the call of the Forge God. Knockout's going to be only onto one. The flash to re-engage. Look for the play. The health bar's low. Yijin almost going to fall down right now, and the backline access is there. A cleanup for Impact. He's on a double already, and one in for Ole as well. Only 2 alive. Slay should not join this one. He can poke, but that's going to be it, and Stark going to be surrounded. The Realm Warp is in, the root is there. He should not have an escape here, but Xmithie getting low on health. Slay putting in a lot. Oh, he gets the kill.
How many more can he get?
In a 2 versus 4, they find a kill. Looking for a little bit more to this one. A shot comes in. The Rune Prison, the snipe. The kills come across, and the choice to re-engage is going to betray them as these last 2 kills will fall. A delayed ace for Team Liquid. They needed it badly. A flash maybe not required, but the kills come through in the end.
17 seconds on the Ocean Drake that is going to be coming up as well, but everyone, save for Stark and Slay, will be responding here for Evos. What a crazy little fight there that started without the Ezreal in the bottom side of the map.
You say it started about the Ezreal. He's not going anywhere near this fight. He's walking towards the big wave, and you think, okay, they'll disengage, it's fine. The teleport isn't used on Bloblets. Caught that one freak, and that meant they had to play this a little bit differently. You can still disengage here, Evos, but they didn't have that in their playbook. They see the big miasma, Warzone commits, and they're only going one way, and that's with Ezreal guaranteed to be out of the fight.
Yeah, to your point, Papa Xmithie, there was maybe a good 5-6 extra seconds where Slay could have turned around and headed bottom earlier, but he did clear that whole wave. Once he gets here, though, he's able to put out a lot of damage behind the tankiness of Stark and then ease forward to get the kill on the support. And for a moment, you think that Evos are chasing down this 2v4 opportunity, but Doublelift is able to get the damage onto the priority target. They eventually switch off of the tank, take down the Ezreal, and then are able to clean it up.
So the end of that replay brought to you by Acer Predator shows you the fun of Doublelift with the high crit, high attack speed build. The Swifties in there cutting around so much in that one and able to put down good, reliable, consistent damage as crit Jhin can give you.
That flash one in the end, though. Oh, here we go. Initiation.
And a stun on a pull about to put out a damage. The Glom onto the front line. The quick chomp as they wait for the timer to fall. And Ole actually managing to snag the kill. Unlike, but he's got 3. He's the kill leader on the team.
So much of this game was around Evo setting up for team fights, sticking his 5, trying to make things happen. Now they've tried to split the map and answer TL's map pressure, and TL are capitalizing. Really nice, aggressive use of the Abyssal Voyage. On throws out an ult. Will we see an engage?
Poke, yeah, Poke's got to be a bit careful. Will not get grabbed. And Let's Bounce just goes for the disengage, and now Stark's got to tank all the shots. Ooh, that was close, actually. Nearly landed on the Zac in the backside there.
Throughout that replay, I was thinking back to Praise Ezreal and how much damage he was doing. Do notice, we do not see a double tier build come out. At least it's going to be a super late tier here. almost certainly not going to be the Seris. Not everyone is opting into this build. We don't see it, and that will change some of the item timings because we've always known Ezreal 3 items amazing, Ezreal 5 items it falls away.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the lower damage cap Ezreal builds here because not only is it a Blade of the Ruin King instead, but also an Iceborne instead of a Trinity Force there for more of the slow control and utility out of Slay.
The question is, can he afford to do that? Cassiopeia situation can do a lot of damage, but Fierce a single target. He's not going to be high damage either. He's against a Gangplank. He's not against as many true tanks, but still, overall, a lot of beef on the side of TL. There's just no guarantees that EVOS will be able to cement the good initiations that certainly will come through.
Teleport's coming in right now. A giant slow on Iran OP. He's got an ultimate, and that's going to buy him a little bit of time as Warzone comes down. Banshee's Veil and all looking for the big plays. As Ronim's going to kick back in Impact, and that is a Gangplank who's going to go and drown with his team. 1-for-0, making it 1-for-1 as they trade down to the support, but still, it is a top laner left alive as Stark can lead the charge forward. Warzone looking for a bit more as well when they find the elastic slingshot. The pillar going to disengage that one. A quick slow comes in as the Q lands. Ole, not long for the world. The Reaver King will be assassinated in his own home territory. A 2-for-1 advantage. EVOS Esports. Xmithie in the front of the other jungler. Not quite going to be slowed, but EVOS, great team fighting. Yeah,
definitely a mistake there from Impact to step into melee range of the Alistar. They had been kiting him and keeping him at arm's length during the ultimate, but as soon as he decides to step in for the extra damage from autos, he gets headbutted all the way back to the Ornn and immediately taken down. EVOS very happy to take that trade, and another turret goes over.
TL thought that was the time because Ezreal was on a shopping trip. He only contributed with an ultimate to help kill Ole on the back end. Play the Rune King and Bloodthirst going to be so much lifesteal. Getting the replay here. It was an attempted pincer by TL through all of this as they just wanted to take down Rondo Pig.
And it's fine if you keep the Alistar, you know, at far right here, but once you allow him to use both the Pulverize and the Headbutt to shove your Gangplank, who has so much money and so much damage potential this late into the game, even though they don't have the Ezreal, EVOS are able to chase Team Liquid out of their own jungle and pull down some kills.
Now trying to pull down some more. There's a lot of chain CC down on the Star. Curtain Call comes in as well. The rest of the team coming around to stop this. Oh, he's going to get the Let's Bounce and a nice final save out of Ole. The knockup, though, they found Povals on a bar on Rise. There's the big CC out of the support. The knocked up chain together. A 2-for-0 for EVOS Esports. And they're looking for a little bit more into this one. Ole has nowhere to go. Goodbye. 3-for-0 in that fight.
Goodbye Baron after this as well. Huge Baron damage. Alistar cemented the kills with an excellent flank with the headbutt Pulverized, and they just about lived through because they were blinking health bars everywhere.
Again, the hard engage here from EVOS. The flank is so key there, Papa Xmithie, because double lift, the center of attention right at the middle of that team fight gets taken out, and they're not able to finish off Slay. So EVOS, again, with a huge pushing opportunity, full timing on this Baron to work with. They're going to get the last of these outer turrets, and then they'll come knocking at the doors for those inhibitor turrets.
Full Warzone in as Stark just sits there and tanks up the turret. It's going to have an easy time with that as the turret is going to fall. No problems in the slightest. Beautiful stuff there as EVOS have put themselves onto a solid 5,000 gold lead.
You get to start. Watch the start of this replay. I really like the efforts here to zone coming through from the Zac as this ended because it looked like it was just going to be a shooting gallery for double.
Yeah, they thought that everyone was in front of them. However, the Alistar, as you see on the mini-map, Ron OP walks all the way around. He initiates, actually not onto double lift, that was the other two carries there. Pobelter going down right at the very beginning. And once they take those two out, they're able to chase off the rest of Team Liquid.
I think this game will continue to be Baron-centric for EVOS. So if the game does extend to the next Baron, they have a double lifesteal AD carry, a Cassiopeia, and tanks. They play so well at starting and turning off Baron. Actually taking down the turrets, that part's a little trickier, because if they don't turret dive, it's a bit slow going.
Yeah, earlier in the game was a little bit difficult for EVOS. They were on the back foot. We constantly had control of the map in Team Liquid's hands with the split pushing and keeping up the pressure. But now that they have this hefty gold lead, it makes it so much easier for EVOS to just bring their crowd control, force Team Liquid to group up here, and keep them in a much smaller area.
And the Baron buff also represents that their kind of lone hope, the Gangplank split push, is no longer a real thing because of the ability to push the waves here so effortlessly for EVOS. Still, trying to hold up as much of a defense they can. Like we're mentioning though, until those inhibitor turrets actually go down, it's pretty slow going to actually cement the advantage that EVOS have created and actually close this game.
And finally, Max CDR for Impact, Infinity Edge in there as well, but his barrels are getting chopped down by everyone else on the opposing team, and he's dying pretty rapidly. 4 deaths. Second most on the team. Impact having a hard time getting stuff done. Now a dive in the front side. But a great pillar means there's not going to be a lot of CC. Turret still falls, though. This could be the big fight. Knock up on it, too. They found Trundle and Rise, but able to walk away. Warzone still building up some space. A flash pillar looking to isolate him. The barrel's going to land a stun only on Ole. Puts up the shield. The burst going to come in. That is a huge kill for Team Liquid. And now on the 5-on-4 is EVOS forced to run away. Impact getting low. He's got to respect Slide. Does not land the missing shot, though. And Gangplank able to run. True Shot Barrage will not get that one either. As the disengage is still coming through. Powelter looking for maybe a target as another Arcane Shift comes in. He's slowed down by Iceborne Gauntlet, and it will only be the single kill.
They're able to chase him off. Zach here does get snared up, and Smithy's still on the chase, but they're gonna let him go. Minions on all sides of Team Liquid's base here, and they barely are able to fight their way out of this one and expire that Baron buff.
We have some very stubborn decision-making from some of the carries here. I was watching Warzone, backs next to the wall, definitely able to flash, always want to get as close as possible to guarantee you get over. Never used it, thought maybe there'll be a collapse from his team. Feels like there's some split shot calling here from the side of EVOS. It's all about taking down this turret. We already noted how hard it is for the side of EVOS to do, but after this play, they seem a bit scattered.
So the encounter there is from Team Liquid. There is a Trundle pillar from Smithy, able to get the Zac out. And then, this is what you're talking about. Warzone here, Cassiopeia is isolated. Pillar is back. He wants to outplay. He gets a stun onto Ole. And he wanted to finish the kill right before he flashes away. But then the CC comes in and he can't get out.
If you're told by your tanks, our CC is up, we can go in now, then you make that play. But it didn't seem there was a clear call by the time Alistair got in there. Warzone was already dead. We already noted how they have damage queries when Cassiopeia and Ezreal aren't there. They rear their ugly head, but they were able to break the inhibitor turret. Didn't get the actual inhibitor, but that was already, as you can see, a pretty difficult thing for EVOS to actually obtain.
And the major items are coming in. Death Cap already done for Powelter, but only the combined to go for Warzone, and he's already at 550 ability power. That item gets done, Warzone will just absolutely blast people in team fights. This is a very fed Cassiopeia. 8 kills in the team, 13 over 19 KP. He is the major carry right now for the squad and showing up so well on the main stage here.
And we're looking for one of the big 4, Doublelift, to actually find something out of Jhin. He's almost an item parity. Cheap build coming through on the Ezreal compared to Jhin, who's just a last whisper item completion away. Maybe this will be the big fight, though.
Here comes the attempted dive. Nothing on Powelter. Now the kidnap's going to come in. He's going to be deleted, maybe, but he's healthy for now. And a nice pullback. Ole means he's not going to get knocked up, but the chase down on Tahm Kench, very low in health, not yet picked off. Another wall comes in. Yijin rooted up. Health bar getting low. Powelter has to be careful. And the redemption snipe doesn't matter. It's like it's the kill, but Pope is out of health. It's 2 kills. They're already inside the base. 5v3. They might end it here.
Inhibitor is definitely going to go down, and EVOS are coming for that victory.
Doublelift and Impact are the only damage. The team at Pillar is up. Can they find Slay? A big chunk comes across. Ronald P at half as well. But he's got to run away. He's getting lower and lower. Cassiopeia just twin fangs him down, and now the flash out for Impact. Now it's a 2 versus 5. Turret under fire. Doublelift and Impact. Can they make it happen? And the clap comes through for Stark on the top side. Turret's going to fall. Ronald P is going to drop it. It's now 3v1. Can Doublelift do it as Stark does get that kill? Flashes to safety. 1 versus 4, a number that Liquid knows so well. As the turret is still in their eyes. Slay wants it to happen. Still 15 seconds on his mid laner to respawn. There comes the turret. There's the knockup. He's gonna be slain. The Warzone is gonna go the favor of EVOS. They're gonna get the win. 1-1 is the scoreline.
The bulldozer comp from EVOS finally gets the job done. Destruction of Team Liquid. Impact had all the gold and unfortunately could never get in the fight. Tried to teleport in right at the end. The squishy center of Team Liquid exposed by all the tanks and eventually taken out.
Team Liquid had really struggled with splitting this tournament so far. There's only been 2 games, but both times, either getting picked off, dealing with hard engagements, they have not been able to split the map.
But EVOS Esports, and really living up to the very new legacy of Vietnam as a region. This time around, they're saying, okay, this year, they're independent, they're out of the GPL, it's now Vietnam themselves standing alone. And last year, okay, we had Gigabyte Marines winning some hearts because they played so crazy. Oh, the Nocturne, like 4-minute level 6, what kind of fun stuff. The lane swaps coming through. This is EVOS winning straight up against the best team in North America, taking down Liquid reasonably convincingly, saying, no, we're just this good.
And the play-ins teams today went 3-1. They played each other, and then the only unique matches, they went on to win both Flash Wolves and the side of EVOS. So big credit to them. Usually we sometimes see the hard-fought road to group stage just come undone very early in the group stage. Not here.
Huge credit there to EVOS because they had to work through a very, tense situation where they were getting split on, they were, pushed on other sides, but hard engage after hard engage, they kept finding the fights that they needed. Really good Ornn play there from Stark especially, and consistently able to find that back line.
Solo kills in lane, great team fight ultimates there as well. Warzone was absolutely massive for consistent damage. I'm going to look at the graph here because I didn't check it just yet, but I'm assuming he's topping the charts. And actually, no, it was just very convenient overall team fight damage. Did very similar numbers to Ezreal. Doublelift himself actually put out a lot, but it just did not matter. You guys mentioned positioning before. Absolutely agree. A lot of convenient picks, we'll say.
And at the end of the day, it wasn't how we expected. It wasn't the powerful jungle pick. It wasn't necessarily all about the top side. In fact, it was manufactured solely by Stark himself in the top side. They showed a different string to their bow, and they won the game.
Well, beautiful stuff out of EVOS Esports. 1-1 on the day as we speak. Royal Never Give Up and Kingzone get ready to face off in our final game of the day. We'll be back in just a few minutes for that matchup. Nap not going to pull in much of anything as the final shots come through for Jim, but still fighting for the front line. Smithy pretty durable. Miasma comes across, big engage out of Ornn. Into the air he goes. The knockup's chained together, and Impact going to fall. Mantled on the teleport, actually. He's not going to be in this fight too easily. The big knockup's come across. Huge plays there. Poe looking for the duel against the Cassiopeia. Double's already dead, and Slay comes in to grab it. 2 kills already. Knockup's going to be only onto 1. The flash to re-engage. Look for the play. The health bar's low. Yijin almost going to fall down right now. In the backline access is there. A cleanup for Impact. He's on a double already. They found Bovel's on a bar on Rise. There's the big CC out of the support. The knocked up chained together. A 2-0 for EVOS Esports. And they're looking for a little bit more into this one. Ole has nowhere to go. Goodbye. There comes the turret. There's the knockup. He's going to be slain. The Warzone is going to go the favor of EVOS. They're going to get the win. 1-1 is the scoreline.